So I coach a high school track team. I'm an assistant coach, and there's been a situation this year for general policy for high school athletics around the use of drugs and alcohol. A situation has come up that has got me really thinking about a policy like this and its effect on the kids, and just generally what the point of school sports is all about, and also what is an appropriate relationship that kids should be having with drugs and alcohol and what we can do about it. So the policy is that and each kid that wants to play a sport has to sign this this policy saying that they won't drink or do any drugs. And if and then there's ramifications if you get caught. And over the weekend there were a number of kids who were at a party and they were identified, and essentially they were not allowed to participate. I guess this was the first strike, so I think it's 2 weeks. You're done for 2 weeks. You can't play any sports. And this is like the last 2 weeks of the season, so they're done. Several of these kids were seniors. A couple of them were very involved in the sport and had practiced all 4 years, and it was all coming down to this, and now they're done. And obviously there's many sides to the story. There's two different sides to the story. And the one is the fact that it's illegal for kids to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol, under the age of 21 for alcohol, and and in this particular case, it was just drinking. But then, also if you're caught with other substances such as marijuana that are illegal, you're in addition to this being illegal, and if you get caught by the cops, there's going to be a ramification for that. So this is adding a layer, saying if you're playing sports and you get caught, then you're done playing sports as well. Okay, so my take is this. I think, well, going from the top, so this law, 21, you have to be 21 to buy alcohol and to drink. If you're 20 years old and you get caught drinking or being intoxicated, then you can be punished for that. But if you look on the ground, if you look at what's really going on and what kids are really up to, and all of us who have grown up in America, I look at it this way. You might have been a person who was on the straight and narrow. And I respect that, man. I respect that. I don't want to take anything away from you. But most people didn't take that path. And it's not about anything more than exploration. If you don't give kids an opportunity to explore and to find things out on their own, then I think you're doing them a disservice. It's not helpful. My argument is this policy of catching kids doing something bad and then punishing them for it, it's not effective. It's not even effective in what we want to do. Because what do we want to do? We want to foster in kids a healthy relationship with these substances. We want to reward good behavior, reward them their good behavior with the opportunity to participate in sports. But we also just generally, we want kids to be physically active. We want to foster a whole range of healthy habits, holistic health. I think we can agree on this, right? That's what we want. We want healthy kids. So then when I look at some of the research about, and this policy that's enacted, it's all about deterrence. We want to deter kids from engaging in drinking or in taking any drugs. That's the stated mission, and I can understand that. But if you look at the research, taking just alcohol, if you look at the research, these deterrence methods are questionable at best. And there are some instances where punishment-based behavioral shaping, it is not effective at all. It's detrimental, in fact. And so in this case, we have to ask, by punishing a kid like this, are you creating a healthier kid? Make it very personal. These couple of kids who had committed, and so I don't really know the kids that well that got caught, but let's assume that you have a kid who was a pretty good student, was very committed to their sport, was also maybe active in the community, and generally thought to be a good-natured person. So they get caught drinking. They've had 2 beers, and maybe they smoked a couple puffs off a joint. They're having a good time. And then the cops come to the party, and the kid gets caught, and then they're done. Their season is done. The end of the season, they were going to make the playoffs. They could have done this, that, and the other thing. It would have been such a fantastic experience, but we say, no, you're done. That's terrible, man. That's a terrible policy. Oh. And because we have to be honest about how many of us in that situation, again, it just comes down to, if we don't allow opportunities for kids to explore even some of the, darker sides of our society, and dip their toes into the water a little bit, then in the long run, I don't think that they're going to be prepared when they hit the real world. So I just find that to be a very offensive policy, very questionable in how effective it actually is at doing what it's supposed to be doing. And I just think it makes... And the other part of it is this. The administration that goes into enforcing something like this. I know that, I don't know how many people were on this committee, but they've spent hours. I mean, there's been many man and woman hours coming to these decisions and then prosecuting this case. And so this is, you can look at it from this standpoint. This is what our tax dollars are going to do. They're going to these extrajudicial processes. And that's another problem with this. Do we really need multiple layers of justice? And is it just to have special, an extra layer of law for the kids who are participating in sports? That doesn't make any sense either. That's not fair. That's not just. And I can go deeper into all of those last couple of objections that I have, but I'll just end by saying this. This is a terrible policy. We're backwards around substances. We don't get it. Our policy is not in line with what are known to be the best practices. And we're making people suffer, and we're wasting money trying to play whack-a-mole here. Because at the end of the day, the adventurous kids, they're going to do it. And we can make it something that is naughty so that they're going to pursue it even more fervently and maybe be less likely to develop a healthy habit with that substance. So We need to decriminalize it. Here's what I think about the drinking age, by the way. 21 to buy, 16, 18 to be legally under the influence. Decriminalize, and this goes for any substance. I mean, decriminalization. The Portugal experiment, let's watch that. I think that's giving us a sense for how we could save ourselves so much money. The playground to prison pipeline, we can end that. How much do we spend on prison? How much of our getcha mentality is playing into the criminalization of so many people, chronic criminalization, the poverty that comes with that? It's just a downward spiral. We need to quit chasing our tail, and we need to foster healthy habits. And if we do have this money to spend on an extra layer of support for kids, it should be around, if you have a kid who is showing signs that they are struggling with substance abuse, we need to be there for that kid, not punish him, but say, let's get you help. Let's get you to the people who you need to see, so that we can try to start again with a healthier relationship with the substance.